Hello, I'm Chef Jason, and welcome to the Great Australian Bite, where we share all things culinary, including history, stories, and recipes. So please don't forget to subscribe and join in on the adventure. Imagine walking into a cramped New York kitchen in the middle of dinner service. Pans crash against burners, cooks shout orders in half a dozen languages, and the air is thick with heat, smoke, and adrenaline. Most people would see chaos. Anthony Bourdain saw beauty. To him, a kitchen wasn't just a place where meals were prepared. It was a world of pirates, artists, misfits, immigrants, and dreamers working together to create something extraordinary. Through his books and television shows, Bourdain transformed the way millions of people thought about food. He taught audiences that every meal tells a story, every culture deserves respect, and the best dining experience often happens far away from expensive restaurants. His life was one of remarkable success, relentless curiosity, and profound contradictions, making him one of the most influential culinary figures of the modern era. Anthony Michael Bourdain was born on June 25, 1956 in New York City. Although born in the city, he spent much of his childhood in the suburban town of Leonia. His father, Pierre Bourdain, worked as an executive in the music industry, while his mother, Gladys Bourdain, served as an editor for one of the world's most influential newspapers, the New York Times. Education and culture were valued at the Bourdain household, but food quickly became one of Anthony's greatest fascinations. One story from his childhood almost became mythical. While on a family vacation in France, young Anthony was served his first oyster directly from the fishing boat. The experience changed him forever. He later described the moment as if the door had suddenly opened to an entire new world. It wasn't simply the taste of the oyster that amazed him, it was everything surrounding it: the sea air, the fishermen, simplicity, and the realization that food could connect people to a place in ways words could never. That single meal planted the seed for the traveler and the storyteller he would eventually become. As a teenager, Bourdain wasn't a model student. He loved books, movies, rock music, and counterculture more than classroom lectures. During summers, he worked in seafood restaurants around Cape Cod. Those kitchens introduced him to a rough and ready lifestyle unlike anything he had experienced before. The cooks were loud, funny, rebellious, and fiercely loyal to one another. They worked brutally long hours, but there was an undeniable camaraderie. Bourdain fell in love with the rhythm of professional kitchens almost immediately. Although he briefly attended Vassar College, he soon realized that academic life wasn't for him. Instead, he enrolled at the Culinary Institute of America, graduating in 1978. At the time, the school was becoming one of the premier culinary institutions of America. Students learned classical French cooking techniques, knife skills, sauces, sanitation, and kitchen management. Bourdain appreciated the technical education, but discovered that real kitchens operated very differently from culinary classrooms. After graduation, he worked in numerous restaurants throughout New York City. The late 1970s and 1980s restaurant scene was demanding and unforgiving. Kitchens were notorious for exhausting schedules, intense pressure, substance abuse, and colorful personalities. Bourdain later admitted that he became deeply involved in drug use during these years, struggling with heroin addiction before eventually overcoming it. He never hid this chapter of his life. Instead, he spoke about it openly, believing honesty was more valuable than protecting his image. Throughout the 1980s and early 1990s, Bourdain slowly built a reputation as a skilled chef. Unlike celebrity chefs who dreamed of television fame, he simply wanted to survive the dinner rush and run an efficient kitchen. Eventually, he became an executive chef at the Brasserie Les Hilles, a bustling French restaurant where he spent many years leading the kitchen. For most of his career, Anthony Bourdain believed he would retire as an anonymous chef, and that changed almost by accident. In 1999, he wrote an essay for The New Yorker titled "Don't Eat Before Reading This." The article shocked readers with its brutally honest descriptions of restaurant kitchens. Bourdain revealed what happened behind the swinging kitchen doors, the shortcuts, frustrations, practical jokes, impossible workloads, and unwritten rules of professional cooking. Unlike polished celebrity chefs on television, Bourdain showed kitchens as they truly were: messy, exhausting, and populated by fascinating people. Publishers quickly realized there was much more to his story. In 2000, Bourdain published the memoir Kitchen Confidential: Adventures in the Culinary Underbelly. The book became an international bestseller almost overnight. Kitchen Confidential revolutionized food writing. Instead of presenting chefs as elegant artists in spotless white jackets, Bourdain portrayed them as hard-working professionals surviving controlled chaos. He wrote with humor, honesty, and sharp wit. Readers loved the insider perspective, his colorful language, and his willingness to admit mistakes. Professional cooks recognized their own lives within its pages, while ordinary readers gained their first realistic glimpse into restaurant culture. Suddenly, Anthony Bourdain became famous. Television producers came calling. His first major television series, A Cook's Tour, premiered in 2002. The concept was simple but revolutionary. Rather than focusing solely on recipes, Bourdain traveled the world searching for unforgettable meals and extraordinary people. He sampled local specialties, visited street vendors, explored markets, and spoke with everyone from fishermen to grandmothers. Although the show was successful, Bourdain felt constrained by traditional food television. He wanted more freedom to explore history, politics, and culture. And that opportunity arrived with Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations, which premiered in 2005. No Reservations transformed the travel television. Instead of treating foreign countries as exotic tourist attractions, Bourdain immersed himself in local communities. He ate with families in their homes, joined workers after long shifts, visited remote villages, and celebrated everyday life. Food became a gateway into understanding history, economics, religion, and identity. Viewers didn't simply learn what people ate, they learned why. Bourdain believed that sharing meals created understanding between cultures. Sitting around a dinner table, he said, allowed strangers to become friends. His curiosity seemed limitless. Whether enjoying noodles in Tokyo, barbecue in Austin, seafood in Lisbon, or simply home cooking in rural villages, Bourdain approached each experience with humility. He rejected culinary snobbery and believed street food could be every bit as meaningful as fine dining. This philosophy resonated with audiences worldwide. In 2013, he launched what many consider his finest television series, Parts Unknown. Unlike traditional travel programs, Parts Unknown explored complex political and social issues alongside food. Episodes examined war, poverty, immigration, colonialism, environmental change, and cultural resilience. Bourdain visited places many travelers overlooked or misunderstood, including regions recovering from conflict or economic hardship. He insisted that food could never be separated from the people who prepared it. Every dish reflected generations of history. Every market reflected local economics. Every shared meal reflected human connection. One of the most memorable episodes featured Bourdain sharing a simple meal of noodles and beer with Barack Obama in Hanoi. The scene became iconic because it demonstrated Bourdain's belief that diplomacy sometimes begins over ordinary food shared between ordinary people. Throughout his television career, Bourdain received numerous awards, including multiple Emmy Awards for Parts Unknown. Critics praised the show's intelligence, cinematic storytelling, and respect for local cultures. Yet fame never seemed entirely comfortable for him. Bourdain often described himself as an introvert who surprisingly became a public figure. Despite traveling nearly constantly, he frequently wrote about loneliness, exhaustion, and the emotional challenges of life on the road. Friends admired his generosity. He regularly highlighted lesser-known chefs, local guides, immigrant cooks, and family-owned restaurants rather than focusing exclusively on famous establishments. Many chefs credit Bourdain with launching or transforming their careers simply by featuring them on his programs. He also became an outspoken advocate for restaurant workers. Long before conversations about fair treatment became widespread, Bourdain emphasized the importance of immigrant labor in professional kitchens. He repeatedly praised dishwashers, prep cooks, line cooks, and servers whose hard work often went unnoticed. To Bourdain, they represented the true backbone of the restaurant industry. His influence extended far beyond food. Young travelers became more adventurous because of him. Television producers embraced more authentic storytelling. Chefs began speaking honestly about mental health, addiction, and working conditions. Restaurants increasingly celebrated regional traditions rather than copying European fine dining. Despite his enormous success, Anthony Bourdain continued writing. His later books included Medium Raw, which visited many themes from Kitchen Confidential while reflecting on fame, aging, and the changing restaurant industry. He also wrote fiction, graphic novels, and essays exploring travel, culture, and politics. On June 8, 2018, while filming an episode of Parts Unknown in Kaysersberg, Grenoble, Anthony Bourdain passed away by suicide at the age of 61. His death shocked millions of fans around the world and sparked widespread conversations about mental health, depression, and the hidden struggles that people may experience regardless of outward success. Tributes poured in from chefs, world leaders, actors, journalists, and ordinary viewers. Many spoke not only of his talent, but of his empathy. He encouraged people to travel with open minds, listen before judging, and understand cultures through shared meals rather than stereotypes. Today, Anthony Bourdain's legacy continues to influence chefs, writers, filmmakers, and travelers. His books remain essential reading for culinary professionals, while his television series continue to inspire new generations to explore the world with curiosity and respect. He challenged the idea that luxury defined great food, arguing instead that authenticity, hospitality, and human connection mattered far more than expensive ingredients or elegant dining rooms. Perhaps Anthony Bourdain's greatest lesson had little to do with cooking itself. He believed that every culture has something worth learning. Every person has a story worth hearing, and every shared meal was an opportunity to understand someone different from ourselves. In a world often divided by politics, language, and borders, he reminds us that sitting down together to eat remains one of humanity's oldest and most powerful ways of building trust. His journey began with a single oyster on a French fishing boat. It ended after decades spent exploring nearly every corner of the globe. Between those two moments, Anthony Bourdain changed not only how we eat, but how we see one another. His enduring message was simple yet profound. Travel widely, stay curious, eat fearlessly, and always remember that the best stories are usually found around the table. Taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. If you are struggling with stress, anxiety, depression, or any other mental health challenge, reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Talking with a trusted friend, family member, counselor, therapist, or healthcare professional can provide support, guidance, and practical tools to help you cope. No one has to face difficult times alone. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and feel free to leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to check out our other content as well. This is Chef Jason, and don't forget, love is the secret ingredient.